What do you think, by wetting your clothes and showing off your young, pounding heart, that you'll be able to control me?" Hearing Samuel's words, Faith, burning with fever, replied, "No, no, the fan in my room was broken, so I came here and slept in the air conditioning." Samuel snorted in anger. "Does your gambling father pay the electricity bill that you were sleeping here? I know girls like you." Saying this, he grabbed her heartbeat, squeezed it, and pushed her onto the bed. She was his wife. Trembling, she said, "If you hate me so much, then give me a divorce." But Samuel had already lost himself in her soft heartbeats. He began drinking from her lips, then ran his fingers over her with intensity and said, "Shut up. If you ever mention divorce again, I'll," with 3 fingers. "That fan isn't working, is it? Can I sleep in your room tonight? I'll sleep on the floor, on the carpet." Faith, burning with fever, could barely stand. But Shirley snorted and said, "Oh ho, Her Highness wants to enjoy the AC breeze. Tell me, have you ever even seen an air conditioner in your dreams? Your father had seized my rightful inheritance, yet he still died drowning in debt. And now I'm supposed to let you sleep in AC? Get out of here. Don't ruin my mood. The fact that I'm even letting you stay in this house is a huge favor from me." Saying this, she slammed the door in her face. For the past week, the fan had been faulty. It moved so slowly that it barely gave any air. A little while ago, it had stopped altogether with a rattling sound. June's heat, combined with a whole day's exhaustion, had left Faith, whose very existence was now burning with fever, completely drained. She went straight to the kitchen. Filling a jug with cold water, she raised a glass to her lips. But her trembling hands caused the cold water to spill from her mouth. As the cold water ran down her neck, over her chest, and then to her stomach, she felt not only coolness but also a strange kind of peace. Wanting to relieve the heat, she poured the entire jug over herself. The icy water began to soothe her being. From head to toe, she was drenched. At that moment, she wasn't wearing anything underneath. Her young, pulsating heartbeats were clearly visible through her thin, wet, clinging shirt, creating a scene all their own. But indifferent to everything, with a scarf draped around her neck, she headed straight to the room that was full of junk. However, due to the suffocating heat, she stopped outside. Then she noticed the room in front, Samuel's room. Samuel probably hadn't come home today either. For the past month, the room had remained locked. Thinking that he wouldn't return tonight either, she moved toward that room. An AC was installed there. First, she went to the bathroom and bathed in cold water. Her clothes stuck to her wet body. In that state, she turned on the AC and then collapsed onto the bed. Heat radiated from her body. Taking deep, heavy breaths, her arms spread out, she sat in the middle, closed her eyes, and lay down, unaware that at some hour of the night, Samuel would be coming home. A month ago, she and Samuel had been married. A forced wedding, one that Samuel had never agreed to accept. Today, after a month, his anger had cooled a little, and he had come home. As he stepped into his room and saw a beautiful mirage lying on his bed, he paused for a moment. Then, walking slowly, he approached the bed. Breathing itself had become difficult for him. Because her body, clad in a black courgette and shawl, was the picture of devastation. Then the shirt clinging to her body, the hair stuck to her face, and her nipples, clearly erect even through the shirt. Seeing this sight, Samuel seemed to lose his senses. He came closer. This girl sleeping on his bed. Was she a servant? No, no, how could a servant be this beautiful? He began talking to himself. Then, as he turned on the room's light and came closer to look, he was shocked. This was no one else but Faith, his wife. All the illusions of her beauty vanished from his mind in an instant. Enraged, he stood near her and said, "Oh, so this is your plan? You thought you'd wet your body, lie on my bed with your arms spread, and I'd weaken, fall into your arms, and let you succeed in your scheme? Never. Whatever your father did to us, I won't forget it easily. And I'll take revenge for every single thing. You think by doing these kinds of acts I'll accept you? I hated you yesterday, and I hate you today. Hearing this, fever-burned Faith opened her eyes. Seeing Samuel in front of her, she was overwhelmed with shame. She regretted having lain down on the bed in her feverish state. Quickly getting up and covering herself with her scarf, she said, "When did you come?" "I just came here to rest for a while. The fan in my room is broken, and I was feeling hot because of the fever." He immediately stepped forward and put his hand on her waist. "There's no need for so many excuses," he said. "I know the desire rising inside you. It'll take me 1 minute to cool all that passion. Do you want me to?" He looked into her eyes. Faith could barely breathe. She tried to free herself from his grip, but by then Samuel had pressed her delicate body with his fingers. "What kind of talk is that, Shirley? She's your only niece, and you're leaving her all alone in this house? Don't you feel any pity for your own niece? How will she live here alone?" Several women from the family were saying this to Shirley, who had arrived in the city at the time the funeral was about to be carried out. Faith's mother had already passed away, and now with her father gone, Faith was in a terrible state, crying uncontrollably. Just then, her aunt, who was considered close family, arrived exactly as the body was being carried on the shoulders of mourners. Shirley didn't even shed a tear. She didn't embrace her niece. She only glanced at her brother's shrouded body and then stepped back. She had barely spent 2 days in the house, and now, as she was preparing to leave, the family women had gathered. She turned to them. "Look, sisters, whatever my brother did to me in his life isn't hidden from anyone. And anyway, what sort of honorable death did he die? He was a mad addict. I've heard he was a first-class gambler. He sold off everything in the house and ruined his life. And my sister-in-law died from the shock because my brother was probably about to sell her off. But the poor woman took her own life. My brother had usurped my rightful inheritance. When I was going through hard times, I begged my brother to give me my share of our father's land. But he squandered everything in sinful ways. And now, why should I do any favors for his daughter?" The family women tried to reason with her. "Look, whatever your brother did to you is done, but after his death, the house and whatever little land remains belongs to this girl. You should take her with you. The land and everything will stay here anyway. At least don't leave your young niece here like a stray." Under pressure from the family, Shirley was forced to agree to take her niece along. As a child, Faith had only seen her aunt at her house once or twice, and both times she had come to fight, demanding her share of the property from Faith's father. Now, suddenly going to her aunt's house filled her with a strange anxiety. The next day, Shirley's son came to pick her up. Seeing Samuel, many of the family women rushed toward him. Truly, there was no one as handsome and well-built in the entire family. Faith, too, looked at Samuel and forgot to blink. Though she herself was beautiful, everyone's beauty seemed to pale next to Samuel's. When the family elders saw the young and handsome Samuel, they once again became thoughtful. "We can't send this young girl away like this. It would be better if you place your hand on your orphan niece's head and marry her to Samuel." Shirley didn't want to do this, but she still had to secure the property. With some difficulty, she convinced her son. "Son, for the sake of keeping face in front of the family, just get married. Once we're there, do whatever you want with her. I'm not going to make her my daughter-in-law, I'll keep her as a servant." Anyway, Samuel had no interest in marriage or in a village girl like Faith. So, in front of the villagers, Samuel was made to marry Faith, and she left with her aunt to the city bungalow. As she stepped into the house, she marveled at its beauty. She had never seen such a lovely home in the village. Shirley called out to the maid, "Nancy, come here. Show her the storeroom. From today, this girl will stay there." The maid was stunned to see such a beautiful girl as the bride. "Ma'am, who is she?" Shirley said irritably, "She's Samuel's wife." The maid was astonished. "Ma'am, if she's Samuel's wife, shouldn't I take her to his room?" Shirley snapped, "Don't try to teach me. Do as I say. This is a forced wedding. My son wouldn't even want to spit on her. He'll keep her like a shoe under his foot. Put her in the storeroom. She'll stay there. From today, you don't need to clean anymore, just handle the kitchen. She'll do all the housework. You can even have her wash your clothes. I'll take revenge on her for what her father did to me. I won't forgive her." Hearing her aunt's cruel words, Faith's eyes filled with tears. She hadn't expected such treatment. Quietly, she went to the storeroom, where old junk lay and an old cot stood. She sat there and burst into tears, wondering what else fate had in store for her. Samuel came to his room, but in anger, he threw everything around. He was not at all ready for marriage. He felt like chains had been put on his feet. "Mom, if my friends find out I married some illiterate village girl who doesn't even know how to dress, and on top of that, the daughter of a poor man, what face will I show them? You've done wrong by me. I will never give this girl the status of a wife." Shirley immediately explained, "Son, I'll get you married to whoever you want, but understand, this is just to shut the family's mouths and grab her share of the property. In reality, she'll be like a shoe under your foot. Whenever you feel like it, call her to your room and use her to satisfy yourself. When you don't, trample her. But never give her the status of a wife." Hearing this, Samuel felt some relief. But the atmosphere of the house still suffocated him. The next morning, Shirley woke Faith with harsh scolding. "This isn't your father's house. Get up and make breakfast for everyone, then clean the whole house." Silently, Faith got up. She was skilled at housework, but seeing the large house and expensive items made her afraid of breaking something. While cleaning Shirley's room, she picked up a heavy glass vase from the dressing table. As she wiped it, it slipped from her hand and shattered. Shirley rushed in and slapped Faith across the face. "Are you blind? You've ruined my precious vase. Do you even know how expensive it was? Your father could barely give you 2 meals a day. Pick up the pieces and get out of here." As Faith picked up the shards, one cut her finger, and blood began to flow. Sobbing, she came out of the room. Her hand hurt, but Shirley ordered her to wash the dishes anyway. Her entire day passed like this in labor. At night, after eating a little, she went to the storeroom. The heat and suffocation made her life miserable. Continuous work had also made her ill. 25 days had passed. Samuel had come home once, met his mother, and left. From the maid, she learned that Samuel was busy with his new factory branch, so he rarely came home. Her entire day was spent burning with fever. At night, when the fan stopped working, tormented by the heat, she went to Samuel's room and lay down. But in the middle of the night, Samuel returned tired. Seeing the beautiful girl on his bed, his emotions surged. She wasn't as bad as he had made her out to be. He came and stood near her, then placed his hand on her cheek. She was so feverish that he flinched from the heat. "Hey, girl, you have a fever. Open your eyes. What are you doing in my room? Didn't you take any medicine?" She mumbled incoherently, opening and closing her fists. When Samuel looked at her hands, he saw wounds marked on her delicate palm. Pus had filled them. It seemed the wounds had worsened due to neglect. Infection had spread, causing the fever. But how had she gotten such wounds on her delicate hands? He tried to lift her. When she wouldn't get up, he scooped her into his arms. For the first time, feeling the weight of this delicate girl against his body, Samuel's emotions ignited. He took her to the car and drove straight to the hospital. After the checkup, the doctor said, "Her fever is 104 degrees. Good thing you brought her in time." But how did she get these wounds on her hands? The infection caused the high fever. Her hands have turned blue. Samuel couldn't say anything. There were bruises on her face, a wound near her lip, and wounds on her hands. It looked like someone had done something to her. As the fever subsided, Faith opened her eyes. Seeing Samuel in front of her, she panicked. Noticing the bandages on her hands, she tried to get up. Samuel said, "Please lie down. You were burning with fever. You should have told Mom, and I would have brought you to the doctor." She shook her head hesitantly. "You brought me to the doctor? If Aunt finds out, she'll kill me. She strictly told me to stay away from you. You shouldn't have brought me." Samuel was shocked to see her so frightened. Truly, his mother had terrorized her. "Don't cry. What happened to your hands? How did you get these wounds?" Through tears, she told him everything, how for the past month, his mother had made her work tirelessly, treating her worse than a servant. Samuel, though angry with her, could never be so brutal with another human being. He felt pity for this innocent girl. After she got better, he brought her home from the hospital, supporting her in his arms. Faith trembled with shame. She wanted to stop at the storeroom, but Samuel led her toward his room. Flustered, she said, "Where are you taking me? If Aunt finds out I'm staying in your room, she'll beat me badly. Please." But Samuel silenced her. "If anyone says anything, I'll handle it. Right now, you need rest." He turned on the AC, made her lie on the bed, covered her, and lay down on the other side. She fell into a deep sleep, but Samuel was lost in his own memories. 3 years ago, a girl named Nora had come into his life and filled it with color. He had fallen in love with her and wanted to marry her. But then Nora showed her true colors. She was greedy for expensive gifts and had 2 or 3 other boyfriends besides Samuel. Disheartened, Samuel had sworn off girls. He decided he would never accept a girl as a wife, only pass time with them. But even then, he hadn't crossed his boundaries. Now, seeing his own wife lying beside him, his heart stirred. He lay close to her, looking at her innocent face. Her neckline was deep, and her heartbeats were visible, making it hard for him to control himself. He reached his hand toward her heartbeats and gently touched them. He didn't want to disturb her sleep, but touching her body gave him a unique intoxication. Slowly, he removed her shirt and fully exposed her body to his gaze. After all, she was his wife. Finally, he buried his face in her delicate chest and fell asleep. The next morning, when Faith woke up, she stopped breathing. She was completely uncovered, and Samuel lay with his face hidden in her chest. Seeing this, she panicked and tried to move away. Samuel woke up too. Seeing her state, he couldn't control himself but quickly moved away. "Are you feeling better? Your fever has gone down." She covered herself with the comforter, blushing. "What did you do to me? You took advantage of my fever. How could you come close to me without my consent? You're a terrible person, just like your mother. You took advantage of my unconsciousness, my illness." Samuel looked at her face. "No, nothing like that happened. And even if I did see you like that, what's wrong with it? You're not a little girl anymore. From now on, wear clothes that cover you properly. I don't want anyone else's eyes on your body, understand? When you come to my room at night, you can undress and come to me." Faith lowered her head, too ashamed to speak. Her face turned red. She quickly went to the bathroom, freshened up, and felt much better. Just then, Shirley's loud calls came. She bathed, adjusted her scarf, and stepped out of Samuel's room. Shirley's forehead wrinkled. She stared at Faith, who was walking unsteadily. "What were you doing in Samuel's room? Your ways have changed, you wretch. Tell me, what were you doing in my son's room?" Just then, Samuel also came out. Shirley was stunned. After a month, her son had come home and spent the night with his wife. She turned to Samuel. "When did you come? And what was this girl doing in your room? You hated her, didn't you? Then what was she doing there all night?" Samuel loved his mother immensely. "Nothing, Mom. She had a fever. I took her to the doctor at night, so I let her sleep in my room." But Shirley couldn't accept this. "You didn't do anything with her, did you? Tell me the truth. Beware if you try to accept her." I'll get you married elsewhere. Understand? Never accept this girl as your wife." Hearing these poisonous words, Faith looked at her aunt, then at Samuel. Without wiping her tears, she went back to her housework. Shirley once again poisoned her son's mind. "Have you forgotten," Shirley said, "when your father was bedridden and I couldn't afford his treatment even after selling all my jewelry? I went to your uncle's house, crying, begging, and your uncle, drunk, smoking, kicked me and said, 'Get lost, you wretched woman. The property is mine. Whatever your father gave you at the time of your wedding was your share of the inheritance, and that's over. If you expect anything more, forget it. I begged your uncle to save my husband's life, to lend me some money, but he didn't give me my rightful share from my own father. And now you want to accept his daughter as your wife?" Remembering that scene, hatred for Faith once again grew in Samuel's heart. He could never forget the days of poverty when they had gone hungry for days. He had worked day and night after his father's death, continued his studies, and achieved this status. That memory smoldered in his eyes again. That night, after finishing her chores, Faith went to Samuel's room as before. But as soon as Samuel saw her, he said angrily, "Where do you think you're coming? Just because I let you sleep in this room one night in the AC, do you think I'll let you sleep on my bed every night? Do you think you can control me by showing off your charms? Never. You are a cunning man's cunning daughter. I will never forget that. Get out of my room." Tears filled her eyes. "Samuel, you yourself said I could come and sleep in your room at night. That's why I came." Samuel said, "Will you leave, or should I push you out? You are not worthy to stay in this room with me." He slammed the door in her face. Inside, his conscience reproached him, but at that moment, his mother's love had blinded him. Faith returned to the storeroom, crying. Once again, suffocation and heat consumed her. She sat with her head on her knees and wept bitterly. Ever since she could remember, she had seen her parents fighting. Her mother always said, "Save money, we have a daughter. You married me for love, and now you're running after God knows how many women." But her father had fallen into cigarettes and then drugs, then gambling. On days he won, he would bring good food, toys, and new clothes. On days he lost, he would come home and demand gold from her mother. When she refused, he would beat her. Her mother would cry, "Don't do this, we have a daughter, I need to give her a dowry someday." But nothing affected her father. Now Faith's mother had died of liver cancer, and her father had died too. But Faith was paying for her father's sins at the hands of her aunt. When would peace come to her life? An old maid named Nancy, who knew Samuel and Shirley well, saw the injustice done to Faith. One day, she said, "Dear, Samuel is your husband. Make a place in his heart. Show him love. Remove his mother's blindfold from his eyes. Only then will you live in peace in this house. He has always done whatever his mother told him. But now it's time for you to take him in your hands. A man, after all, if a woman shows him love, he becomes hers. But if you keep crying all the time, how will it work? I've heard that Shirley is looking for girls for him. Soon she wants to get him engaged to a friend's daughter. Aren't you suffering enough already? Will you suffer a co-wife too?" Faith's heart trembled at the maid's words. She couldn't bear to see anyone else with Samuel. That day, after finishing her chores, she came to the lawn, and Samuel's gaze fell on her. Once again, his emotions stirred. His heart screamed that he was falling in love with her, but fear of his mother stopped him from expressing his feelings. Every night, without being asked, Faith would go to his room and leave a cup of coffee. But today, she didn't make coffee. Without making it, she went to her room and lay down. When Samuel craved coffee, he became worried. What if Faith was sick? He left his room and saw the kitchen light off. He walked to the storeroom and opened the door. The heat and suffocation there troubled him. She lay on the bed, drenched in sweat. Samuel felt deep pity. His conscience reproached him. What is this innocent girl's fault that she is being so wronged? On the day of judgment, God will ask me how I treated my wife. If this innocent girl's curses fall on me, my life will be ruined. He stepped forward. Wake up, Faith. Come to my room. How can you sleep in this heat and suffocation? Faith opened her eyes, wiped the sweat from her face with her scarf, and said, No, I'm fine here. This is my status. That's what you said, isn't it? Anyway, I don't want a few days of fake love and emotion. Leave. If your mother sees you in my room, she'll make my life hell again. Samuel grabbed her by the arm and made her stand. Can't you hear me? I said come to my room. Why are you saying no? She freed her arm. Enough, Samuel. I am not your slave. Fear God. I am weak, but the God I trust is not weak. He sees me and he sees you. If you hate me so much, give me a divorce and leave me at some shelter. I cannot live in this house with you anymore. I am tired of being punished for a crime I didn't commit. He felt pity for her. The next moment, he lifted her in his arms, brought her to his room, laid her on the bed, and hovered over her. What did you say? That I should divorce you? Never. If you utter such words again, you'll see the worst of me. She cried, It's been 5 months since our wedding, but you've never come near me. You've never taken from me what a husband takes from his wife. I am your wife only in name. So end this relationship. He wiped her tears with his lips. Oh, so you want me to make you mine? You want me to take my right, like other husbands do with their wives? She trembled at his words. Get off me. But Samuel had her completely in his grasp. He nibbled her earlobe and said, Forgive me. I tried very hard to treat you the way my mother wanted me to, but I can't do that. I've fallen in love with you. And tonight, I will prove this love by penetrating your very being. Faith had been waiting for this moment. Happily, she said, No, you're lying. You don't love me. You only lust after me. That's why you came close. But looking into her eyes, he said, I'm telling the truth. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't be asking for your permission. She kept looking into his eyes and then surrendered herself to him. As the night passed, they became one. Samuel poured himself into her drop by drop, and she clung to his chest, overwhelmed by his intensity. The next morning, she somehow woke up on time. Samuel still held her in his arms. Let me go. If your mother sees, she'll make my life a living hell. I have to go. She left his room. After that day, she slept in Samuel's room every night and became quite happy. Shirley was bothered by her happiness. She made Faith work all day and scolded her constantly, yet the girl's face no longer showed tears. Samuel also came home every night now. Shirley began to fear that Samuel might actually start liking her, because she was extremely beautiful. One day, Shirley was having a foot massage from Faith. Looking at her with anger, she said, These days, your face is glowing with joy. What's going on? Why do you look so happy? Faith immediately replied, Nothing. This is my home, and you are my aunt. How long could I keep making a face? I had to adjust to your family, didn't I? She smiled. But Shirley jerked her foot away. Stop. I only want to keep you as a servant in this house. Don't be too happy thinking my son will accept you. I will marry him to a beautiful girl from a good family. Today, my friend is coming with her daughter, whom I have chosen for my Samuel. Faith's happiness evaporated. Inside, her body trembled. Seeing this, Shirley smirked and handed her a list of dishes for the party. Go and prepare all this. Beware if you make the spices too strong. In the evening, Shirley's friend arrived with her daughter. Seeing her, Faith's eyes widened. The girl wore a loose shirt and trousers, with cropped hair and a confident stride. She looked like a Western beauty. Faith felt inferior. Tears came to her eyes. If Samuel agreed to marry her, how would she bear it? Samuel had already accepted her as his wife. Every night he poured his intensity over her body. Would he change because of his mother? Just thinking about it made her restless. Faith served the food to all the guests. Seeing her extraordinary beauty, Shirley's friend asked, "Who is this? I've never seen such a girl in your family before." Shirley quickly said, "Oh, she's a servant, an orphan and homeless. That's why I've kept her here." Hearing this from her aunt, tears streamed down Faith's face, but she quietly went to the kitchen. Soon Samuel arrived. As soon as he came, Shirley said loudly, "Come, son, sit. Look who's here, your childhood friend." Samuel was also happy to see Melissa. He sat beside her, and they laughed and talked. Faith stood by the kitchen door, watching the scene. Then she went to the storeroom and sobbed bitterly. When Shirley mentioned the wedding in front of Samuel, the color drained from his face. "For God's sake, Mom, you've already married me once. I don't want the trouble of a second wedding. I want to accept this girl as my wife. She is whatever she is, our uncle's daughter. She is innocent. We will no longer be harsh with her. Please forget the idea that I will marry again." After the guests left, Shirley brought up the topic again, and Samuel gave a clear answer. But Shirley raised the roof. "I'm telling you, she came here only out of compulsion. She will not have any real relationship with you. Understand? I will get you married. I will." Samuel listened to his mother silently and went to his room. That night, Faith didn't come to his room. He became restless. He went to her room and found her sitting on the floor, head on her knees, sobbing. He came near and tried to touch her. She moved away. "Don't touch me. Go prepare for your second wedding. That fair-skinned girl has come, go hold her hand and laugh with her. I don't look good to anyone. It's better that I end my own life." Samuel immediately pulled her to his chest. "Are you crazy? Have you lost your mind? Nothing will happen unless I want it. I have fallen in love with you. I don't care about any other girl. You will be the mother of my children and the queen of my heart." Hearing this, Faith felt some comfort. He lifted her like a little doll and took her toward his room. Shirley saw this scene with her own eyes and was shocked. The door to their room didn't open all night. She got up and put her ear to the door. She heard muffled sobs and laughter from inside. Shirley's blood boiled. The next morning, she said to Samuel, "Come with me. I'm going to do your wedding with Melissa this coming Friday. Come with me to choose a nice wedding outfit for her." Samuel shook his head. "I will not marry anyone except Faith. Did you hear me, Mom? Please give up this stubbornness. You hated your brother. He is gone. But I cannot see any more injustice done to this girl." Shirley immediately fell to the ground, screaming and crying. "My son is no longer mine. This accursed girl has taken my child from me. I am all alone. My husband died, and now my son has been taken by a girl. It would be better if I die. Why doesn't God kill me?" Saying this, she fainted. Her body went cold. Samuel rushed her to the hospital. The doctor said, "She has had a brain hemorrhage. It's a miracle the blood didn't go inside. She must not be given any tension. Her blood pressure is high, and she's at risk of a heart attack." Samuel sat holding his head. On one side was Faith and his love, on the other side his mother. He was trapped. In the end, he prioritized his mother's love over a few months of romance. When he brought Shirley home, he fell at her feet, crying for forgiveness. "Forgive me. I shouldn't have spoken to you in that tone." Shirley wept. "I will forgive you only when you obey me. Divorce this girl. I will not tolerate her in this house." Faith, who had come to the door to inquire about her aunt's health, stopped there. Samuel was crying, "Whatever you say, Mom, don't worry. No one is greater than you in this world." Faith stepped back 2 paces. If Samuel gave her a divorce, would he really do that? She was about to go mad with shock. Her health had been poor for some days. She quickly went to the storeroom, packed her belongings, and, wrapped in a black shawl, slipped out of the house. Samuel sat in his room, smoking one cigarette after another. He wanted to talk to Faith. But when he went to her room, she wasn't there, nor was her luggage. He searched the entire house. Faith was nowhere. The watchman had gone to the market to buy fruit for Shirley. When they checked the security cameras outside the house, they saw Faith wrapped in a black shawl, carrying her bag, leaving the house. Samuel held his head. When he told Shirley, "Mom, she's left the house," Shirley immediately grabbed his hand. "Beware, if you take even one step outside, it's better for her. I never liked her. She must have had some lover she went to. If she were a decent girl, she would have stayed in some corner. She was getting a roof and 3 meals. But you will not go looking for her. Stay here with me." Forced, he sat there. Shirley held his hand and fell asleep. His eyes kept going to the door. As soon as Shirley was asleep, he ran out of the house. He searched the streets for Faith. Morning came, but he didn't find her. Several days passed. He filed a report at the police station, but there was no trace of Faith. He felt her absence deeply. Meanwhile, Shirley had bribed the doctor to create fake reports of brain hemorrhage and heart attack risk. She had planned everything. After leaving the house, Faith went straight to her friend Rachel's house. Rachel was married and lived in the city. When she saw Faith with her luggage, she was a bit flustered. Faith cried and told her everything. Rachel said, "Look, Faith, this is how in-laws are nowadays. You made a mistake by leaving your house. At least you had a roof there. Here, my mother-in-law has made my life hell because I haven't given her a child yet. She keeps telling my husband to marry again, and my husband has started beating me. They've gone to another city to look for a girl. I don't know what storm will hit me. I can only keep you in my house for one night. After that, find somewhere else." With great difficulty, she spent the night there. But in the morning, her health worsened. As she came out of the bathroom, her blood pressure dropped, and her limbs stiffened. Rachel took her to the hospital in a taxi. After a checkup, the doctor said that Faith was going to be a mother. Tears came to Faith's eyes. Rachel received a call from her husband and had to leave. The gynecologist, Dr. Sarah, was kind-hearted. When Faith told her about her troubles and asked for work, the doctor thought for a while, then spoke to the senior doctor. Many doctors in the hospital didn't like outside food, they preferred home-cooked meals for lunch. Faith's cooking was excellent. So she was hired to cook for the doctors. The hospital had a kitchen in the back, where Faith would cook during the day and rest in a room nearby. Time passed quickly. 3 months went by. Meanwhile, Shirley had completed all the preparations for her son's wedding. Every day, Samuel returned home like a corpse. His beard had grown, his hair was disheveled. He had stopped taking care of himself. At night, memories of Faith would not let him rest. Where had she gone? One night, he heard his mother laughing loudly. In the living room, Melissa was sitting with her mother, showing off family jewelry and clothes. Shirley was laughing and said, "Faith is out of our lives now. Even when she was here, she lived like a servant. But by leaving, she made my job even easier. Believe me, my son is very naive. The moment I threatened him with a brain hemorrhage and heart attack, he immediately obeyed me. Good riddance, I don't have to see her face all the time." As Samuel heard this, the ground slipped from under his feet. He opened the door. Shirley's smile froze. He stood there, tears in his eyes, staring at his mother. He had never imagined his mother could go so far. Silently, he left the house. Shirley ran after him, but he didn't come back. Driving recklessly, he went onto the road. A bus collided with him. He was badly injured. His lips still murmured Faith's name. People brought him to the hospital. He had head injuries and a fractured leg. He lay on the bed, silent. Samuel had donated a lot to this hospital, so many doctors knew him. He refused to eat anything except tea and crackers. The senior doctor offered him his own food. When Samuel tasted it, he paused. This is just like home-cooked food. He remembered Faith's cooking. The doctor said, yes, we've hired a special cook for ourselves. A poor, helpless, pregnant woman. She cooks for me and the other doctors. As long as you're here, you can eat her food too. Samuel's heart ached. After serving food to all the doctors, it was also Faith's job to collect the dishes. Wrapped in a black shawl, she entered the room and froze. Samuel's eyes also fell on her. He could tell from her figure that she was about to become a mother. She was in her 7th month, her belly was visible even under the shawl. Samuel immediately sat up. Faith. You're here? The dishes slipped from her hands. She stepped back 2 steps. Samuel tried to get out of bed, but the doctor stopped him. Lie down, Samuel. Your leg is broken. If you get up, there could be complications. Hearing this, Faith stopped. She didn't know whether to run or go to him. How had he gotten into this state? When Samuel asked her to come near, and he himself started sliding off the bed, she went to him. What happened to you? She began to cry. Samuel grabbed her hand. Where did you go? Searching for you, longing for you, look where I ended up. Why did you make the mistake of leaving the house? If I weren't injured, I don't know how many slaps I would have rained on your face. How dare you go away from me? He was scolding her, and she was crying, wiping her tears. I left because you were going to leave me. I wanted to live attached to your name. Samuel kissed her hand. Crying, he told her the truth about his mother and about his accident. The fear that Samuel would belong to someone else now vanished from Faith's heart. She sat beside him. When Samuel was discharged from the hospital, he took her to his apartment. Shirley called repeatedly, but he didn't answer. Slowly, his health improved. Faith took care of him like his heart and soul. When he felt better, he grabbed her firmly and pulled her close. I will never forgive you. You did wrong by me. You stole precious moments from me. You were going to be the mother of my child, yet you put yourself in danger and disturbed my child. Just let the baby be born. Then I'll take full revenge on you, even while you're still in your lying-in period. By the time of delivery, Samuel was back on his feet. Faith gave birth to a daughter. She became the apple of Samuel's eye. He named her Nur-ul-Ain, light of the eye. Peace had returned to Faith's life. When Shirley somehow found out that Samuel had had an accident, that he lived in an apartment and was happy with Faith and his daughter, she called him again and again. The maid even called to say, Sir, ma'am has had a heart attack. The doctor says if she doesn't recover within 24 hours, she may die. But Samuel thought it was another one of his mother's plans. When a call came after 24 hours that his mother had died, Samuel's body trembled. He had never wanted to be so distant from his mother. But his mother, through her own actions, had pushed her child away. Crying, he shouldered her body and buried her. He prayed for her forgiveness, distributed food among the poor, and then slowly immersed himself in his life with Faith and his daughter. The past was bitter, and it wouldn't fade easily. But seeing Faith and his daughter, Samuel learned to live again.